It's a good one. I think it's fair to talk about this, and it's Marcus Sasser and a lot of guard depth. We've been mentioning this throughout the podcast. The team is deep. We got a lot of guys that are going to get minutes this year at the 1 and the 2 spot. Marcus Sasser, he's a combo guard. He can play the 1 or the 2. He had that 40-point game in the summer league. He looked great. But do you see him playing for the Motor City Cruise this season?
Based off of James Edwards' third depth chart, it would look like that way, wouldn't it?
100%. I think we'll see him on the bench for the Pistons a lot this season, but the bulk of his minutes will be with the Motor City Cruise. Because like we just said, the Pistons are way too deep at the 1 and 2 by their standards the last few seasons, that it's going to, unless he shows out in training camp and in preseason, I don't expect him to get a lot of minutes right away for the Detroit Pistons. I think this is a guy that's just going to absolutely kill it in the G League, probably have a Saban Lee type season where we're like, what the fuck? Why do we not have this guy on our roster? This is crazy. And it's just that we're deep, man. The Pistons are just way too deep at the 1s and the 2s. But, I mean, I'm happy for him. I don't think he'll be in the G League for a long time. And last time I predicted a player to be in the G League, he made me eat my fucking words within, like, the first
Jalen Durant.
Yeah. So it doesn't – I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if Marcus Sasser just showed out. But, yeah, I do expect him to get the bulk of his minutes in the G League this season.
So I've kind of been – I just don't know what position the Pistons see him as. Like, he was playing point guard in the summer league a little bit because he's like 6'1", maybe 6 foot. I'm not 100% sure like what he is, like height-wise. And I was thinking like short 2 guards that the Pistons have had. And the one that came to my mind instantly was Avery Bradley. I think he was like 6'2", and because point guard depth, like you had mentioned, it's deep. You got Cade, you got Monte Morris, and I would assume Killian would be above him in the rotation. Even though he's not the scorer that Sasser currently is, I think he would be higher on the pecking order just because Monty probably likes his defense and his passing. Now, if you're talking about 2 guards, you got Jaden Ivey, Alec Burks. You could even throw Joe Harris in there if you want, if you see him as a 2 guard. I don't know. Some people view him as a small forward and a power forward. I think minutes for him are going to be hard, and if he is on the Detroit Pistons roster, it is going to be in garbage time until Monty Williams can, until Monty's like, okay, I can trust you. I'm going to throw you out for 10 minutes a game. I don't think spending time in the G League would be the worst thing for him to start off. Maybe you just throw him down there for an assignment, see how he does, get him some reps, because you're not really going to get better just watching your teammates play. You're going to need some reps. So I could see him maybe playing a few games here and there, but until the Pistons make some trades, maybe you trade Alec Burke at the deadline because Sasser's just killing it in practice. I don't really think he's going to get that much playing time, but that's just my opinion as we're recording this in July, but that could change, man. Like, he could just like go berserk like he did against the Pacers in training camp and just drop 40 on everybody, and we could be 100% wrong. But I think as of right now, it's kind of hard to say, okay, yeah, he's going to get playing time over Burks. He's going to get playing time over Joe Harris. I just don't see it as of right now. And the point guard depth, like, he's probably not going to play over Monte Morris or Killian.
No, and I mean, I see the 4 guards getting the bulk of the minutes for the Pistons. Cade, Ivy, that's a given. And then Monte Morris and Burks. Those are the 4 I really see. And then I guess you could sprinkle the minutes to Killian Hayes. Like, if there's, Killian probably will get, I don't know how many minutes he'll get. I'm thinking maybe like 9 a game, and he probably doesn't play every game in there, probably just depending on the team and if there's foul trouble or whatever. But I do see Marcus Sasser. I mean, let me ask you before I answer this. Do you see him cracking the rotation at any point this season? And I know we're talking, I mean, it is July, so our thoughts could change on this. But based on how he played in Summer League and that explosive first step, that ability to go out and get you a bucket at any moment, he's a pretty good defender too. He has a 6'7" wingspan. But do you see him cracking the rotation at all for the Pistons this season?
I think it depends on the matchups and the teams you're playing.
Okay.
Because if you're playing a team like Milwaukee, no.
Yeah.
Just because they're like Brook Lopez and Bobby Portis, like your shot's probably getting blocked unless you're just instant offense from, the perimeter. But I think he could crack the rotation. I think it may be garbage minutes here and there, just until he can really, gain the trust of Monty Williams. Because, some coaches do like to ride their veterans to kind of push the younger guys. I know we saw that with Luke Kennard his rookie year, because we traded for Avery Bradley, and Avery Bradley was ass, respectfully. And then Luke Kennard, he couldn't miss. So I think it could be that type of situation where maybe Alec Burks is really struggling, and you want an explosive two guard that is better defensively. When he gets hot, he's hot. Like you said, that first step is explosive. He's kind of got like that Terry Rozier vibe to him, where he's just crossing people up that dribbles really fast. I wouldn't expect him to get consistent minutes right away. I think it may take him a few months to crack that rotation consistently.
See, I see him at some point cracking the rotation, not early on. I've already said I don't see him cracking the rotation early on. I think he's going to start the season in the G League. But it would not surprise me if Burks ended up taking a back seat to Sasser, because I feel like Sasser is a player. I feel like that first step, that step back he has, that jumper, it looks good. And again, like, he's a dog defensively. You can see some kind of creative lineups with him in the mix, with that shooting, if the stroke is real. I could see him eventually taking minutes from Burks. I mean, I would like to think Burks is probably moved on the deadline. It depends on how some of these young guys play, but it wouldn't surprise me if Burks is on the Pistons for the entire year, but then ends up taking more of a back seat to a Sasser or an Asor Thompson or whoever else they decide to bring in. But yeah, I definitely see Marcus Sasser cracking the rotation at some point during this year, most likely after All-Star break. It really depends on how the Pistons are doing as well. But I just feel like this guy's going to show that he belongs in the NBA, and they're going to find a way to get him on the floor at some point. And it wouldn't surprise me if it's after All-Star break.
Yeah, like I don't really think the G League would be a demotion. I don't think he's going to I don't think he'll get the Saban Lee treatment where he's killing it in the G League, averaging like 30, 40 points in the G League, and then he can't even get garbage minutes unless there's an injury. They traded up for him for a reason. Troy Weaver said he's kind of like that glue guy. He's one of those guys that you need on your roster. So I do expect him to get playing time. I think it'll be garbage time, whether it's a blowout or whether maybe there is an injury. I don't know. It's just, I know we're trying to win, and I look at the vets that play that shooting guard position. For me, I think they would ride with an Alec Burks or a Joe Harris at that two guard spot.
Okay.